Hey guys, welcome back to BHL's Iron Fist Aftershow. Today we're talking about Episode 7, Felling Tree with Roots, and Episode 8, The Blessing of Many Fractures. Two deadly moves that the Iron Fist has in his arsenal, and 2 episodes of Iron Fist show. They were episodes. I can say that at least.
Exist.
Let's get started. Hey guys!
See, I told you it's different.
I did not. You guys surprised me with this one.
I told you, it's a different version of it.
Hey guys, welcome back to Black Hollywood Live's Iron Fist After Show. Talking about episodes 7 and 8. They're our binge.
Yeah.
Whew. All right, I'm your host Zach Wilson. Let's get through the business so we can start this dissection. I'm your host Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson. I have the full panel back.
Yay!
She has returned to us, Miss Joelle Monique.
Hey guys, I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique and every week at blackgirlnerds.com.
We have Andrew Mena.
That's true. I'm Andrew Mena. Find me online at Andrew Mena.
And back again, Rick Hong.
That's right, guys. You can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RICKHONG. And actually, I have a question for Joelle.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of episode 6?
Okay.
Oh, actually, you know what? That was last week. All right, Zach, let's do it.
No, Joelle, you unfortunately did have to step away for the last episode of the podcast. So, real quick, what did you think of episodes 5 and 6?
In one sentence.
Yeah.
Okay.
A reminder, in case you guys were binging, episode 5 was where Claire showed up. Mm-hmm. And episode 6
so
was
happy.
the duel, the crazy duel, the grand duel,
If you can
will.
call it a grand duel.
Yeah, anytime Claire shows up, it's going to be amazing. So there's no, I just love her, and I hope that she gets to do more things forever and always. I'm trying to, we've watched so many episodes, guys. I'm trying to remember specifically which moments. Because I don't want to spoil anyone in case we're not there. And,
Just like in a thumb, like up and down.
the middle.
Middle thumb?
The middle. We're
Okay.
getting better. I feel like we're moving away from the early kind of slow, very, tediously slow stuff. We're getting some secrets, which is good. I believe these are the episodes where we start finding out, why... Nope, those are later. When Danny starts questioning why
Yeah,
he...
so
People start
yeah.
actually answering questions about why Danny left.
Just when you thought they were moving away from Batman.
I mean, it was, to this point,
Yeah, never.
I think still, even after episode 7 and 8, I think episode 5 is still my favorite so far.
Yes.
Or at least it was the strongest.
Okay.
To me.
I would agree. As soon as they brought Claire in, a whole lot of chemistry suddenly happened.
Oh, Joelle, you know what? Episode 6 was the one that RZA directed with a lot of the choreography that was kind of...
Interesting.
That's what it was.
I saw a breakdown of the fight scene that happens when, in episode, I think it's 3, when Danny breaks in to get his medical records about his broken arm from school. So that fight scene happens for 35 seconds. There are 54 cuts in that fight
God,
scene.
that's
you
irritating.
actually, you actually counted it. Wow.
That
I didn't
is
count. Someone on the
irritating.
internet
okay,
wrote an
okay.
article about it. But what I found, I think that's kind of the crux of a lot of my issues with the show so far, is that it's just too much too fast, and at the same time, it's not well paced out. But I think that as we move closer to these kinds of later episodes and we start getting answers, and as you guys say, we're definitely building chemistry. I thought Claire and Colleen together on screen was magic and a lot of fun.
Rosario Dawson would have chemistry with a piece of wood.
She really would. She'd make that
is
work.
phenomenal.
So can we just replace Danny with a piece of wood? And everything would get better.
All right.
Here's
all right.
what
Let's-
higher would be
let's-
like Claire and...
I mean, we are
Colin.
going to talk about Felling Tree with Roots.
I
That's
mean-
the title of episode 7.
Fantastic.
So these episodes, I'm still waiting for it to get going.
Yeah.
Again, I think that it's
Waiting
not that
for
the
it.
beats that are happening in the story that are necessarily wrong or bad. We'll talk about it, but at the end of episode 7, we get this huge emotional moment where Ward snaps and murders his dad, straight up patricide.
Yeah.
But it seems pretty justified in the moment. Other than
Yes.
feeling like he's not a great dude, you're just like, yeah, I feel you, buddy.
it's probably time for that guy to die.
that sucks.
And the thing is, that's what I mean. Those story points are really strong. But I
Yes.
think, that could have been as early as episode 4. The
Totally.
pace that this show has gone. It just, it took us so long to get here.
Yes.
That like I don't know that it.
They earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it's felt like it's trudging. But let's break this down. Like, well, let's start with Ward in these episodes. Like Ward, Harold, Joy, the Meachams.
Ward's like
Ward has
completely
been the
falling
most
off the rails.
interesting person for me to follow so far. I love Ward's storyline. Like, I
Yeah.
don't like Ward, but
Right.
following Ward's journey has been really rewarding.
I was 100% concerned and really scared for Ward for one moment after his dad told him to get rid of those bodies. That when he took all of those pills, he takes a handful of pills. I was like, he's gonna OD. This is the end of Ward. Oh my God, that's so upsetting. How sad would that be then? And like all of the nuance that would come with having to hide then his body too. But that's not the direction we went, and I'm so happy that he was able to,
I definitely thought we were about to have a Cottonmouth moment where they killed my favorite villain, and I was like, don't do this. It took me like 3 good episodes of Luke Cage to get back on board. I like even Meacham's like drug addiction and how it ties into the story. I think just works really well.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Pelphrey is the actor that portrays Ward, and I'm more and more impressed with him as an actor.
Oh yeah,
as we go.
he's very impressive.
But again, like here's my issue with his story. Like he is like what he's going through is great. Like the arc that he's on, like it's very interesting. That's more or less well paced in terms of like where he's going. But I don't care.
I get that.
Like
I'm in your school.
It's not.
I'm in your school.
Here's the thing. It's they have. In terms of the show, like I guess that like yeah, I mean I'm interested in his character, but he's not why I'm watching Iron Fist.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we've spent so much time on his drug addiction.
Yep.
Totally.
That like it's not the same way that in Jessica Jones we cared about her neighbor, who I don't remember his name.
That's okay.
Right.
But like
there is no neighbor in this show.
there's no equivalent.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
like he was a small character
That
who
you could
grew,
care about.
and like they used him in small doses so that I did care about him
Right.
because like we just saw him like sort of grow and then become more involved in the plot as we went.
Yeah,
but
nobody
Ward
has
has
neighbors.
been a central character since the beginning, and I just like I'm not tuning into the show to watch Ward.
Absolutely.
That's not why I want to see. That's
Yeah.
not what I'm waiting for on Iron Fist.
That is totally fair. I also feel like, as we're talking about pacing, well, I really do care about Ward. Here's why. He's the most dynamic thing for me to latch on to. Like, I gave up on, unfortunately, I had to give up on Danny like a while ago. Like, he just, he doesn't light anything up for me. And it's not, it is what it is. So, but I found myself like gravitating toward Ward. Like, he's got all of these daddy issues. He's like trying to run a company that he legitimately cares about. He's still an asshole. I feel like if you were going to stretch out the story over this many episodes, it would have been great to actually get into like, I don't know, what happens when you're addicted to heroin and especially spiraling that fast and apparently coming back onto it. Like, I just feel like there's a lot more they could have explored. Addiction and pill, like trying to hide that stuff, like trying to go to meetings high and get through them. But instead we kind of keep getting the same beats when we come back to his story.
See, for me, it's kind of, I look at it the opposite way, where they're spending so much time on Ward and the drug addiction, where you've seen that storyline before, where it's like, I want to see more about Joy and Jessica Stroup and her character, like more growth on her end. Maybe it's because she's pretty, I don't know.
She's gorgeous.
So,
you guys?
That's like, I would have loved to have seen a little bit more balance. Because she kind of falls into, we've kind of seen a little bit of a character turn from her, but she kind of also falls into that, she's like a woman character, so let's just kind of just push her to the side for a little bit and let's concentrate on the male brother character. Granted, we're only at episode 7, so 7, we're at least we're discussing 7, 8, but that's the way I like it, that I feel too, is I'm not, I don't think that the storyline for Ward is bad, but I'm definitely not tuning in because I feel like it's derivative of
like here. Yeah, see, here's the thing. Like we got in these episodes some awesome fight stuff. Like in
finally.
episode 8, we got a crazy drunken fight,
Dude,
and like
Zhao Chang.
That's what I'm watching this show for. The show is called Iron Fist,
Right.
and just the same way that Luke Cage was called Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones was Jessica Jones, and like. You tune into the show for the main character. And the side characters are supposed to bolster that, and they can have their own plot lines, but they do have to come back to our main hero if they're gonna be the focus like that. And right now, Ward's story, the drug addiction part of his story, is not really. It's only loosely connected to Danny Rand. If it was a parallel. If there was some kind of parallel that we were seeing,
if they were pals,
if they were
maybe?
close and it was affecting Danny's life, or if Danny was going through a similar type of addiction, like if his chi was addicted, if he was addicted to his chi,
I got you.
It doesn't
though.
work. But like that's not how chi works. But my point is that like yes, it's a heavy topic and it can be very interesting. And as we said, like the actor is doing a phenomenal job portraying the withdrawal and all that. But that doesn't mean that that's what is right for this show.
It's definitely a problem that's the thing I'm most interested in seeing.
Do you guys think that they did that because it's really heavy acting? It's an actor who's able to like really do some real acting about being a drug-addled character, and they literally just have to film him like sweating in rooms. It's like the cheapest tactic for like filling story.
If that is the reason, it's the dumbest thing I've ever.
Well, this whole show is them avoiding giving us what you told us you expect from the show, which is Iron Fist fights. It's them avoiding giving us what we really want. Like, is
and
those
see, I
fights.
want to give the writers more credit than that. I feel like their decision making was this because we already know that like Marvel heard a lot of pitches, so there had to be something early on that was good. Like there had to be good nuggets of this
budget.
And I think that their goal was like, look, we can now bring everything together. Like this is the reveal of the hand, essentially. It feels like that's what we're building to. I have no idea where we're going, but if that's the case, then like we've got corporate espionage, which is cool, and we'll get to see like it was really cool watching Daredevil run around in black in the middle of the night trying to like do legal stuff like without using the law.
Right.
And I think that maybe that was their goal, and somehow they slid way off track in bringing it to light.
They've been like since Daredevil season 1, we've been talking about like because I've hosted like on AfterBuzz TV, I hosted all the Marvel after shows. So like when we started the Daredevil season 1 after show, we were yelling about what's gonna come in Iron Fist when we get there, because as soon as we saw the serpent on the drugs, we knew what was happening. Like we knew they're starting to thread the needle to get to Iron Fist because they're gonna build up the hand to be this big villain eventually for the Defenders. When we got to Daredevil season 2, like I'll say this without giving spoilers, like the big ending is what was setting up for the Defenders' big bad.
Yes.
And there's a lot more that we're starting to get, especially with Harold and everything that he's going through with the hand, with like the mystical stuff, like he died and they brought him back from cancer death. It's a really weird way to say that. But like all of those things we're building towards this. But what we're getting as the hands reveal doesn't feel like it was as intricate as they had like made it sound when it was a mystery. So all right, so let's jump over to the hand in these episodes, and I want to talk about like Danny's plot line through episode 7 and 8, where they're like finding Gao.
They go to China.
They go to China. Which like that's a big thing to do on a show, especially one that is like is supposed to be so grounded. To go international is should not be a small.
Do you think they actually went to China?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Like it looked like
It did look like China.
It looked like the same places they had been shooting every other doc sequence.
No, that was very clearly.
It looked like
New
Long
York.
Beach to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Or
I mean, it would have been New York, but because the whole thing was filmed in New York, and they do shoot it there. Like you can see, like I mean, like being from New York, I'm like, yeah, you did at least. You're not in Vancouver.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the park scene solidied that when Colleen was doing the training. I'm like, that's really New York. What's up?
Yeah, I mean they do shoot this.
What? It's not the LBC?
But so all right, so they go to China after like. All right, well, sorry. Let's start with the corporate side, because this is where Danny is still in charge of Brand Corp.
Right.
Yes.
So He wants to close the plant.
Rand Enterprises or something like that.
Yeah, and after all the work that they did to try to like, all right, well, we got to fix this thing, this video that leaked out of him like apologizing, which like legally is like kind of not, he's not culpable anyway. But I get why it's like clean up and all that.
Right. He doubles down.
He's like, he follows Gao into like the mysterious 13th floor that no one knew about.
Yeah, which is
Well, I feel like that one was actually a fair plot point for me. A lot of buildings, especially in New York, like if they're older, they just don't have a 13th floor.
Yeah,
It's
superstitious. Yeah.
No, the number adds up. It was more just like
just silly that they worked in this building their entire lives. You never went to the 13th floor, like. I don't know.
I mean, I guess like the elevator. I guess like you don't really. It's a tall building. It's a skyscraper in New York. I don't think anybody sat there and was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I guess so, but Danny like grew up here until he was 10. He had every
an early plot point was that he could get into the building from any direction because he spent his whole childhood like navigating the building. Right. So. I see the fallacy in heroism. It may not work, but
I know this building like the back of my hand. A 13th floor? What is that?
They teased you at the beginning. It's just like, where did Maria go? Who are you?
I did think it was cool. It could be that the floor was always there, and they just like redid the elevators that didn't have a clear button and
one of those secret buttons.
Well, no, but like they have key card access. Like we already see him have to steal the card. So like, I see that. I did like him like jumping in the elevator and like using the Iron Fist.
Did you like that Gao did not have to call the elevator, or I wrote that down? Her boys didn't touch a button. The elevator was just open when she was ready to go because she has a kinetic like connection to that damn elevator.
Maybe someone else pushed the button.
No, she's magic.
Well, she is magic.
Yeah,
that's a different point.
And she uses it on elevators.
I mean, we saw her kick the crap out of Daredevil. Like Madame Gao is not one to fuck with.
Yeah, absolutely. She doesn't wait for elevators. I just need to point this out. That is what she uses her power on.
We get another one of our sexy pharmaceutical reps, who's got all the heroin plans
that Danny just
on her tablet.
Creepily walks up to and like breathes on the neck of.
Yeah.
He's not all right.
He's such a creep about it.
That's
He's
creepy.
not
Like, don't just walk
creepy.
up behind people.
You don't do that.
This is not people. This is the evil heroin dealer.
Zack has real feelings.
People.
She's still a person. She is a pharmaceutical rep for a
She's
heroin
a
trade company.
heroin dealer.
If
Let
she
me also
kung
point
fu,
this
she
out,
really
though.
just needs some like elbows.
This is a big point moment because this is a point exactly. How, the validity and how much I love and care about a hero directly depends on how they treat their villains. Batman refuses to kill villains. Very important. We talked about, Flash literally sits down with villains at bars and has conversations with them. He's like, will you turn yourself in later? Okay, great. I'm going to come visit you. We'll do a crossword. Like that is...
Because Barry Allen's an idiot. That's
Well, no, Barry Allen is a sweetheart. How dare you?
And that's the point. That's the point, though. Like maybe that's not the greatest. Maybe that's not the greatest tactic, but we love them for that. And the fact that Iron Fist, Danny Rand, is a whiny little baby who's like, I gotta kill the hand. They're bad ninjas. Bam! It's just like so frustrating and irritating. It's
I
like,
can leave the portal open,
you
but
are the least. You're the least zen guy I've ever seen,
and that's
spouting
fair.
the most zen rhetoric, but then not following up on it.
He is like having trouble like centering himself. Like there's clearly a lot of stressors in his life, but I think that's part of the journey that he's on.
Yeah.
In terms of like that as like a story point, I actually think that that's a really interesting thing for somebody to go through.
It would be a really interesting story point if the tone of the story was ever directed at that. We never get a moment where anyone calls him out. We never get a moment where he's like, oh God, like I stepped out. That was too far out of bounds. It's never addressed.
And that's where I think this show is flawed. But I feel like there was a version of this show that was written at one point, or they were trying to write. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which way it went. Where it was like either the original version was darker, and that we're just seeing the pieces of the lighter side pushing through, or if it's the lighter side that then they like force darkness onto. But especially in episode 8, we got to see some of that, like what this show could have been, because like the dialogue between Claire and Danny in it, like when they go to China, is so like refreshing in its just honesty about the situation. Like that's where these shows have been really strong. Everything from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to the Daredevil, like when they acknowledge the absurdity of what is
Absolutely.
happening around them,
And the world that
that's
they've
when
built.
Marvel stuff works. That's why
Yes.
Marvel works, because it's like when Claire just goes like, I really wish I hadn't come with you to China.
Yeah.
And Danny's only response is, that's fair.
Her comment in the car of like, oh, how was your trip to China? I almost got killed 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is amazing. The comedy in these episodes is the best it's been, and it's something I've been clamoring about for a long time.
Now, I could be wrong because I don't have the information in front of me, but I want to say that episode 8 was directed by Kevin Tancharoen, who
I will
did
double-check that.
who did the reboot, the initial short reboot of the Mortal Kombat series, like reimagined. So like I can see why, and then he basically like kind of did Mortal Kombat into a less cheesy version, and
it was so good.
And so like that's what I'm saying is like maybe this is why episode 8 was so good, but maybe I'm wrong. I know his name popped up somewhere in one of the episodes, and whatever episode he did, I had like high hopes to be, hey, I hope-
it's this one.
you're
yeah,
absolutely
see,
right.
that's why episode
That's
8 is
great.
so good.
Yeah.
It's because Kevin Tancharoen did it, possibly.
No,
I
I
mean,
definitely
one of the
think you
factors.
definitely see in this series more than maybe any of the other Marvel ones. Like when a new director steps in and brings life to it, you can feel it. Especially in the fight
difference.
scenes and how the fight scenes are directed, because sometimes, whoo, it's work.
I mean, look, a lot of time with most like actors, especially people in lead roles, because they try to cast people who audiences are familiar with. They're not always going to be the best fighters, so like you have to direct around that. And like sometimes you can cast for that, and like you can argue that in this case they maybe should have put the martial arts above the known actor, especially because Finn Jones is not really a household name.
I have 2 points to make on this. Someone on Twitter pointed out the other day that Ant-Man looks like he would destroy Iron Fist, and I said this is the biggest problem Marvel has currently in its canon. It will bother me until they put me in the ground. That Ant-Man is like 3 times as like buff, and his fight scenes were really cool. Second of all, I've been hearing rumors, and I can't confirm anything. This is very, very rumor territory. Kind of. The first part is factual. It came from Finn Jones himself. He trained for 3 weeks for this, for all of Iron Fist.
3 weeks.
3 weeks of training. Lewis Tandon interview earlier the same day that statement came out from Finn, saying like they asked him point blank like, oh, what was it like working with Finn? And he was like, he's like a cool guy. And the reporter was like, oh, so awkward? And he's like, no. He's like, I was in the gym every week training with Jen, and Finn just wasn't there. Finn Johnson said that he was working 6-day weeks, so he would have half a day Saturday off and all of Sunday off, but then he'd be back to filming. Now, this gets into like gray territories with actors, because you don't like, they are employed. Okay, an actor is just employed to do a job. They do the job, they go home and sleep. Like it is essentially 9 to 5 with crazier hours. However, when you're taking on a role like this, I feel like, why not spend your free time in the gym?
Right.
Like, why not? Like, you've seen what Daredevil was capable of doing. I'm pretty sure that guy's not a typical trained fighter, and yet we got a lot out of it. I mean, maybe schedules were shorter. I don't want to like come down on Finn, but it just seemed very strange to me that he was not in the gym with it. Like the guy who had 1 episode was doing more training, who's been training his whole life.
And
It's
see,
so hard.
The thing is, before we throw, I just want to say, before we throw him under the bus for like not being in the gym, like to train with people on his off hours, that's not only a personal decision.
It is absolutely a personal decision.
Well, no. Hold on. Let me. It is a personal decision, but there are a lot of other factors, because I know actors who have been put in that position, and a lot of times, especially on something like this that is a union job, it is even more so than just like I want to be in the gym. It is protecting the craft as a whole, and because like if there are union rules that guide how often you can be in rehearsals, how often you can be in these things, and if you're in there 7 days a week, productions get fined. Productions find themselves at the risk of like being in violation of union laws and rules, and that's an extreme thing to do. And while yes, you can be in the gym on your own, to be when you're in there with the show's trainer, that enters a different area legally. So I just before, because I
hear
have friends
you.
that have been in that situation, I don't want to put that on to the actor
Which is
who
why I
may
say
have
it's
been
a
trying to
very
protect
gray
himself and
territory.
other people who are going to be put
then
in that.
have the
So
trainer.
then the issue becomes, they had plenty of time to cast somebody for Iron Fist, it's not like, okay, now we're gonna start casting. I mean, if they were doing Daredevil, like they were building towards this, they had plenty of time to find somebody with the martial arts background. And my other thing is, I mean, sometimes it does just come down to the directing too. I mean, I'm sure Carrie-Anne Moss, your favorite, I'm sure that she had a crap ton of time to train with Keanu, and they had Wu Ping to work with. But if you can make her look good, and I'm not saying she's a bad martial artist, and like she looks great, she's awesome, and I'm sure she had a lot more time.
She learned that scorpion kick for 6 seconds.
Yeah. So, that's what I think. I think it's definitely a combination of a lot of things. Like I wouldn't even say it's like Finn Jones's dedication of like how either he's getting or not. There's like a bunch of different combinations. I mean, in terms of what you said for sure, and
I mean, to pivot off of Finn, it just doesn't make sense to me scheduling wise, though. Like if Marvel, this is not their first show out the gate with Netflix. It seems like scheduling and making sure that there was enough time to rehearse and know the routines and shoot the show has not been a problem in the past. So if it came down to Finn being like, look, I can't work, which again is completely understandable, then who effed up in scheduling and didn't give him enough time to learn? Like I have a lot of questions as to why, like, as you say, Zach, the thing you come for is the martial arts.
Absolutely.
And it's just not there, and it's batty.
That's the big thing, is that like, yeah, that's why I don't want to come down on the actors like like training and stuff in his schedule, because that's a whole other thing that we can't even speak to because we weren't there.
To the
but the casting, like, if you know that you only have 3 weeks to train the guy, and that may have just been the case because this one was so difficult to develop. Like they knew when they had to release this for the schedule that they had to put out in order to get Defenders going and all that, they had to cast him at a certain point. But if you know that, and you know you're only gonna have 3 weeks to train the guy, then you know you have to get somebody who has previous training. And Finn Jones has admitted, and like, this is not anything bad for him. He didn't have martial arts training before. Yeah. That's fine. Like, no one expects you to. But if you're gonna take the role of Iron Fist, the show's you're gonna hurt the show because like you're gonna be forced editors and directors to put in 54 cuts in 30 seconds to cover up why
terrible.
Why Daredevil. Why the fight scenes in that worked. Like, the biggest scene that everyone remembers from Daredevil Season 1 is the hallway fight that is one shot. That you could watch that again and again and again. It's still awesome because it's so... It's one shot, so, like, it feels real. It doesn't feel like you're watching a show. It feels like you're just watching a guy get getting beaten and then beating up other people in like this blunt, just hard to watch.
And hence directing.
Yeah.
You could have a bad director on that scene.
Well, we did get some good directing in episode 8.
Yes.
He gets back on the positive.
Zhu Chang.
The drunken fight was...
Lewis 10!
Yes.
So flat for Lewis.
So
I've been waiting.
I was so angry that he lost. Like, how? With everything of that scene, he shouldn't have lost.
That man fell all the way down and rose all the way back up in very swift, cool movements, and was like, it was so fast and so cool, guys. With the gourd, like, and his weapon was like
His
a gourd.
gourd.
It was it.
With the socket.
That was all he was using.
It was great.
This fight like made me want to
wine.
continue the series.
See, it's just another case of the white man trying to hold down the Asian man. That's what happened. But hey, in his defense, he was drunk. I mean, you should see me when I fight when I'm drunk. I mean, it doesn't look that good. I don't fight.
Everything
I was
about
gonna say we're gonna have to see.
right? We could test
Somebody
this
get this man a whiskey.
I liked everything about the introduction to the end of this character. Like that Madame Gauche rushing him like, get up, things for you to do, and he's like, I don't even care. To the fight scene, which was dope. Like, I want more of this.
Yes.
Like if Danny Rand's not gonna be the most dynamic aspect of this show, like can we at least get fighters of this caliber who can also then act at this level and bring that much characterization in?
Again, like, this is the fun that Iron Fist can have. Like, this character, this whole fight sequence was fun. And I think I get, like, I'm starting to understand, like, what they, like, the level that they're putting this, like, Danny Rand in this series, in the season at least, at. Like, this is almost like he accidentally, like, he just, like, he found himself as the Iron Fist, like, as opposed to, like, okay, so I'm trying to take, like, my understanding of Danny Rand out of it a little bit. That he sort of became the Iron Fist by not just luck, because, like, he did train, but not necessarily as being, like, the most skilled fighter, but the one who was destined to be the Iron Fist.
True grit.
And that's a different take, because as opposed to being the strongest fighter who can take down the Beast, it is the person who is meant to take down the Beast, and that's different. Okay, so if we accept that, then he's still in training. He's still learning to fight, and he's coming up against people who are far more skilled than he is. Iron Fist maybe is the most powerful fighter, but does not necessarily make them the best.
There's a Luke Skywalker quality to that.
Yeah, a little bit of that. So
we're going with a chosen one theory here.
That's what it feels like.
that's what I think the show is giving us.
I mean, they've given us such a garbage protagonist that he has to be the chosen one, because otherwise, why is he here?
Interesting theories. Okay,
That's
I'm gonna
my
roll
prediction.
with that thinking from here, because I feel I get that. I felt like initially it was like a true grit thing, where it was like, I just will not allow myself to be defeated, which I like in a character, even though we're not getting a lot from that either. So maybe I think
there is something to that. I just mean in the terms of like the flaw that a lot of people are having with this is like, how is he losing? How is the immortal Iron Fist
That's
the
what I feel when I
greatest,
watch.
most powerful, like the immortal weapon of Kunlun? A tribe of warrior monks who do nothing but train to fight their whole lives. How is the strongest fighter among them losing to like these random people and struggling?
Yeah.
How is he struggling to beat Zhao Chang? Am I pronouncing that right? I'm terrible with pronunciation.
Hey, dude, I'm Korean, man. It's Chinese. Why are you asking me? Why are you looking
I'm
at me,
asking the
man?
whole panel.
He gives me this look, and I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
I don't know.
Right,
Everybody else, I feel like other people said it differently. But,
No, I do. That's tough.
Let's all say it differently, and then we can just divide the internet.
Anyway, but like, I think that the reason that we're seeing him go through this is that he earned this right by more just like having the right like soul,
Destiny,
like the right like outlook, like the right behavior, not necessarily
the right heart.
Yes.
Is what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Is it because he has the right heart with his little white heart?
Trying so hard to be positive.
I mean, it's just
if this is the direction of it.
Yeah.
It just makes me even angrier because I feel like we don't have any of that like joy spilling off of him. We don't have that.
We have no save the cat moment.
No.
His one save the cat moment was with the dog, and he just closes a door on the dog. He doesn't pet the dog. He doesn't love the dog. He doesn't love anything. He doesn't love himself. He loved his mom for like 3 seconds, and he gets real upset about it. He kind of loves.
They keep telling us he loves Colleen, and I
Colleen.
believe Colleen is into him, but he's giving her nothing to work with
does
romantically.
not
Well, that's what I was
Colleen.
gonna say. There's no joy spilling off of him because Colleen's spilling off of him.
Okay,
Wah, wah.
gross.
Get outta
first
here.
Of all. And second of all, no, because there's just
scene.
none
The
of
sex-
that.
can we talk about the sex scene for a minute?
Quickly,
have
let's talk
to.
about the sex scene because it does not deserve too much of our time, frankly.
It didn't
was
deserve that much
gross.
time on the show either.
Yes,
No.
absolutely not. It was gross. I did not need their little rocking back and forth. The fact that he took his shirt off first, gross. Like, we want to see that? You're not Luke Cage. Get out of here.
The way
Like,
he
I
took his
can't,
shirt
I can't,
off was,
dude.
I don't know, there was something funny about it. It
was.
felt like, I say this
It was-
with as much respect as I can muster. It felt very feminine, the way he took his
Yes.
shirt off. It was just like, I don't know, there's something about the motion.
And see,
It
that
felt like
wouldn't
he was
have bothered me
revealing
so much.
something.
It wouldn't have bothered me so much because he has like the Danny Rand from the comic books has a very feminine energy about him. Like he's strong, he totally kicks butt, but he's also, you know, kind of the caregiver of the group a lot of the times.
Yeah.
So that motion wouldn't bother me if we followed it with like, you know, a wink nudge. Like, you know, like this is hot, right? Like, you know, like sex is not always serious. Like,
Right.
there's like, y'all joke with each other because you're in a relationship. You know what I mean? And we get none of that. It's like, it's just very serious. I'm like, no.
Hey, just go back and watch the Jessica Jones season
Yes.
1 because that one's a good one.
Or the Misty Knight
Yes.
Luke Cage sex
Misty
scene.
Knight,
Yeah.
Oh
Luke
my
Cage.
god.
Yeah.
That one's good, but the Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, the best superhero sex scene of all time.
See, that's when we want to see it. Well, when we see
Yeah.
this one, it's like, dude, let's just go to the next scene.
Yeah, let's just skip
cut.
this. And let me also just point out that earlier in this episode, when he goes to the board meeting and he's all bloodied up, he changes his shirt in front of the secretary, and the secretary looks at his body in a way that's like, Oh my. No, I'm sorry, no. You can't just direct a woman to feel that way about a guy who looks like Danny Rand. About
This is not fair. Okay, I'm gonna challenge you on this.
Fit
Right,
enough.
He is an attractive man.
He is a slender little steak boy. It's fine.
I
Some
am-
people are into that.
I literally
and
once
that's
had a
great,
girl tell me
but
that she
everyone
wanted to
is
date a
swooning about
I
it.
want to hear what Joel's going to say.
I literally had a girl tell me once she wanted to date a guy whose legs disappeared into his pants. Like, people are into all different types of body types, so that wouldn't have bothered me. It's just that he doesn't exude any kind of
Energy
like. Well,
of
just
any kind.
there's different kind of sexual energies, and if he had just picked one and gone
Yes.
with it, I could have been like, yeah, sure, I get that. But it's just all the time he just feels so mopey. Like
That's
every
the
scene,
thing.
he's just like dragging his feet.
There is no sexual
and
energy in
looking
him.
down at the floor, and like I'm just kind of like a shy, humble guy.
Exactly.
And that's not a personality.
But they direct all the women to be like, oh, this guy.
Yes.
And say, oh, he's so impressive. And I'm like, wait, show me that though. Like, I believe you, but it sounds like you're talking about Luke Cage.
Cha-ching. He's got
I
money.
guess.
He's got money.
Money is sex, I guess.
And you know
Lie
what?
about it.
We're gonna talk about this more as we go on. But he says several times, "I'm rich and I have money and I'm a millionaire," and I hate him so much
Every time.
time he says it.
Every time he says it, I'm right there
it
with you.
ruins your heart theory.
Real quick, I just have one.
No, because I think hold on, just to respond to that. I think he is. I think at most of the times that I can remember him saying it, he. I see. There's a struggle here because like
Yes.
I can hear it the way that it's written, and it's like this is the issue that I have with the tone of the show is that it's inconsistent because those lines I can see the way that they've written on the page, and they were meant to be jovial. Like he's like, no, don't worry about it. I'm fucking rich.
Right.
Like laughing.
Yeah.
But because he is, and that's the character. The character, like when he has money, is like, I'm rich, dude. Like.
Sure.
But not in that like shitty way.
Can I just ask you one
Not
question
like,
then?
I'm rich.
Besides the oranges and stuff, and like buying her building, what is one thing Danny Rand has spent money on? Like dinner for
bought those
Colleen,
clothes
lunch.
so he
The
could look
Chinese,
good?
yeah, the Chinese food catered dinner.
Like nothing nice for anyone.
private
He's
jet?
a millionaire,
The
but he
private
doesn't
jet?
spend his money
Yeah,
developing
he chartered a
anything.
private jet to stop an international drug lord from peddling heroin.
I can't look up my nose enough at you. It's like ridiculous. Buy something nice for someone, you selfish butt.
he's only had his money for what, like 2 weeks?
I mean, and you're a 10-year-old.
He's been busy trying
go
to
to Chuck E.
stop-
Cheese.
Look
Like,
at
do
the
one
damage
thing.
done in blank check in a single week.
That's what
y'all.
I'm saying. Give us that moment. Like, you have these jokes, pay them off, man. Like,
Oh wait, no, that's
that
not
was the
right.
Aston Martin. Like, and you're right. They could have done more with that.
yeah, exactly. And how do you learn how to drive?
So
We have
do
so
you
many
think-
questions still.
And this is way off topic, but I just had to sit here and just really think about it for a second because we've talked about, actors like Asian actors, whatever. The guy that plays Ramsay Snow, Ewan, I'm hoping that I'm saying his name right. Ewan.
Ewan Rayhan? Or whatever?
Yeah. Like from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And from
Can you imagine the way that he plays that character and channeling that as a Danny Rand? Would that be better? Because he makes Ramsay Snow hilarious.
I mean, no, because he's Maximus the Mad in upcoming Inhumans, which little thing here.
No, I
Hold on.
know, but
Going to be
But do you think
directed by
if
the
Danny
same-
was... Are you saying if
Hold
he was
on.
like a sociopath?
He's gonna. Inhumans has the same showrunner as Iron Fist.
so we're gonna see something then. I'm just saying. It's just because it's part of its delivery. It's a part of its delivery in the or it's just the writing just that bad.
That still doesn't work for me because
Okay.
when you put okay.
I just love him. He's awesome. I mean,
He
that guy
is
was
totally
scared to get in
awesome.
Dark Alley because the way that he played the character in Game of Thrones, his acting was just so awesome in that show.
That flip of a switch thing he does, like in the same way that Mark Hamill portrays the Joker, it's definitely terrifying. Like you don't want somebody laughing and then like stabbing someone on the heart. It's
Right.
just it's unsettling. I feel like for Danny Rand though, like he is. I understand where Zach's coming from. I feel like Zach, when you say it's like, oh well, I feel like the show's going for these things. I feel like these are all the things you had hoped for the show, and I find it super sweet because it's also what I had hoped for the show. Like we're gonna get this big-hearted guy who is also good at martial arts, but mostly what he's there for is just to take care of people. And you get like senses of it, like little ebbs of it, like with the stuff with the drugs. But then none of that is played out in such a way that makes Danny like putting his heart on the line dangerous or concerning, or like being Danny, like being that good and that open-hearted, especially in a city like New York, is hard.
Especially in the Marvel version of New York, that is like really dirty and like
Yes.
violent.
And
Very
that's
criminal.
we never get the sense that this is a proper challenge for Danny. We never get the feeling that like, my God, like be harder, Danny, because if you're this soft, you're gonna get destroyed. That should be like his feelings should be what's at stake, not like his martial arts. And it's all missing.
And that's
Yeah.
what that's where we could have connected more to Ward, is if like that's what Ward's character was there for, is to like pull Danny towards this corporate life. Like, I don't care about them getting kicked out and like dealing with like corporate like, oh well, somehow the board has decided that even though you own 51% of this company, giving you a majority stakeholder in any shareholders vote, we're removing you and barring you from the building that you own.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay. This is
the legality.
In this case, there could be from pure like, okay, would this work? There could be corporate bylaws, because every company has their own bylaws that a board has a certain amount of control, and they could have written this in as something that could be done. Why they would do this, I have no idea, because they wouldn't. This wouldn't be like, it's Rand Corp. Like, there's no way that Danny Rand like doesn't own like that Wendell Rand and Harold Meacham like would let that be in.
One, I could see, like, one would be like, you are not mentally competent to manage this. Like, kicking Danny out for the board should not be a problem. Like, based off of his record, what he's coming back to doing, the bad business decisions, like, from a purely financial point, I don't think it'd be hard to kick Danny off the board and be like, look, you still get the money, but you just don't have a say in the business direction. Kicking all three would be next to impossible. Yeah. It would be too easy to get a lawyer in and be like, this is like corporate espionage gone totally awry.
I also always hate the secret board meeting where we unanimously voted to kick you out. Yeah, it's such like an off-screen like when? I hate like no. That's not. No.
These guys also have cameras everywhere. You couldn't get the drop on them. Like, sorry.
Yeah, Harold
lazy writers.
Harold
he would Frankenstein to have a call in the second.
And that's where, when we're talking about Ward, that was the only part where I thought it was going in an interesting direction, where he's talking to his sister and saying, "Dude, you wanted to be, a
horse breeder."
Yeah,
yes, that was beautiful.
And that's a question that I posed to you guys: is would you rather have a corporation that's a headache? And it's not an innovative company. It's not like a Snapchat where they actually did boot the guy that thought of everything, and he's $100 millionaire, and Evan Spiegel's a billionaire, but. Not to have that headache and just to walk away for $100 million, just to be able to go do whatever, you go start a new company,
your whole life,
to do whatever it is that you want to do. Because, I mean, what would you like? Yeah. I honestly would take the $100 million.
No
maybe,
question about it.
If like the company that I was at wasn't. I mean, because they don't look like they're having a good time.
Their inheritance was tied to their money.
That's what he said.
So,
that's what I thought the dynamic of Ward's character was interesting, where he was just like, the way like our lives are tied to this. Now it's not. We can walk away. And
that's also
go start a new company.
That's also an absurd severance package.
It is
like 100. That was okay for like Danny, because like technically they owed him like. This is $1 billion company. Like, and they would have owed him the company.
Yeah.
So $100 million is cheap, but to like, that's not a severance package. That's 20% of $1 billion. Like, even if this company is worth $2 billion, which I don't think they would be.
And that's like all stocks and everything else.
Yeah,
it's not like
knows?
it's just
it's probably not $100 million check like paid out. Like, it's probably $100 million over
but
a
like
certain
even if it's
years.
from stock
like
and all that, that's still $200 million.
That's a lot of money.
That like your company is just gonna give away because you didn't like your board members.
I don't know numbers or business, guys, but what I do know is if I was Ward, I would have skipped away with that money.
Okay, so you would have taken it.
As Ward.
You would have taken it.
Joy.
Well, Ward wanted to.
Yeah.
Joy was the one that didn't want.
Well, Zach, $100 million?
Would you take the $100 million?
To walk away from your dad's company?
I would. I don't.
Yeah.
What am I? You know how many companies you could start with $100 million?
You know how many video games?
Wilson Corp. Zach would walk away for it for $100 million.
Yeah, because I go start Wilson Inc.
Yeah.
And this is all of us saying, like, we don't like what the company do, but
Wilson
for Joy,
Enterprises.
Joy is good at her job.
Yeah.
She like, as much as she has to maneuver around her brother and make him feel big in his pants so that he keeps coming to work, like, she is good at what she does. She always has a solution. She's fast with it. If I were her, I'd fight tooth and nail to stay, because I found my dream job and I'm worth a lot. So no, I'm not leaving.
She could go, but with that resume, like, she could go anywhere, and with $100 million, she could
this is
do
mine.
anything.
I built this. I would be personally offended. Like, if
Go build Meacham Corp.
Again, that is the healthiest
Joy,
outlook. That is the healthiest thing a person could do. If you've been outed, if you're said, hey, we don't want you anymore, taking what you've gotten and building something new is like, it's hard, but it's rewarding, and it's totally a healthy outlook on life. Be like, I don't need you guys anyway. But I'm vindictive and don't take what's mine. Like, I made this. Like, you guys are surviving off of a lot of my ideas, and you're not just going to kick me out. Especially when I have, like, the best, person right behind me to get all the dirt on you. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be petty. I'm gonna get my shit.
Yeah.
fair.
The big thing, like, as we sort of wrap out on this episode,
I have
discussion,
one prediction. Yeah.
Just my takeaway, like, I feel like this one was showing off, like, to me, where it tonally was lacking and where it could have been.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about, like, the shopping spree thing. I think there could have been a really awesome scene, like, that they cut out or, like, just happened off screen in my head with, like, the car. Where, like, he's like, I need to get around. Like, can I borrow your car? It's like, dude, you have all the money.
Yeah.
You have all the money.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh. And then, like, he just, like, there could have been a really cute scene with, like, him and Joy at a car dealership where it's just, like, that little, like dolly and, like, upshot.
Yeah.
It's like, is
What
this
about
really,
that one?
is this really what you want? Is this the car you're gonna? It's like,
This is my car.
yeah.
And then the fastest donkey cart line would have been so great in that moment to like lead off of it, or even them testing the cars. There's just so like we get a lot of flashbacks, but we keep flashing back to the same damn stuff, and I just don't care about it.
Yeah,
like I would have much preferred to see like even if you don't have the budget to show like an actual like donkey race through Kunlun, totally understand that. Like, can we see the start or the end of it?
Yeah.
Can we get like some? Like, or even just a really great retelling of it. Like, we have really great oral tellings of stories throughout, like, the Marvel Netflix universe that are fun and informative. There's just none of that here.
Yeah. And what was I gonna say? Just the flashbacks to the plane crashing and the like when they're in the plane and he's like having these like things, and I really like Claire's way of talking him down. I think that if that's the other thing is they're threading this idea that this trauma is what the driving force here, and I think that was sort of meant to be a bigger thing in the series, because those kinds of things are what has driven all the Netflix shows so far. Jessica Jones is driven by she's a victim of sexual assault, and that's what informed the entire series. And that's why that series sang so well, because it had this underlying thing. I think probably in one version, this was supposed to be all about how a guy grows up with a lot of power, but is still affected by the trauma that he went through as a kid. It's just that they're getting us off that track so often.
Which one of you guys wasn't one of you guys posted on Twitter where they had the breakdown of each? One was like, it was Jessica Jones, rape victim,
exactly
like
that.
Daredevil this, Luke Cage this, and it said like Iron Fist, spoiled white boy.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was essentially, it was like what you said about Jessica Jones, about the culture of abuse. Luke Cage is about the continuous and never-ending racism and systematic racism.
Yep.
Daredevil's about rights for the legal system. People
how it fails the people who need it most. Yeah, whereas Iron Fist is about how hard it is to be white.
I think that's an oversimplification. It's just that the show hasn't done enough to drive the points that it's trying to make.
Well, no,
any of them.
I think the bigger problem is,
Absolutely.
again, in superhero worlds, and again, know your genres, this is done. Like, I don't ever need another one. Like, maybe in 30 years when no one's touched the billionaire orphan story, I'll be interested again. But I could care less about the fact that you have all this money, your parents died, and like it sucks. But people, like everyone at some point is expected to lose their parents. This does not seem and it's not like you saw it like where Bruce like lost his family on the streets that they told him were the best things about themselves. Like Gotham was his center, and then he lost them all of those streets, and then he makes a dedication to make those streets what his parents had hoped for. That's a good story. Iron Fist losing his parents is a tragedy and it's awful, but without the hand, and here's where I think the show's made its largest mistake: bring Madame Gao in so much sooner. Madame Gao as your main villain is like the meetings are interesting and the storyline has been the best thing for me for the show so far. But if they had put Gao center and we finally get the gravitas of like her master is the hand, and that is our big bad for the Defenders. Like that is like the thing that we're really afraid of, and we have him fighting Gao, and they have like intellectual massive which if no one's gonna touch her intellectually, I feel like that's a much better driving force.
Like if you're saying if like the hand is in Bakudo was her master,
like if the hand is
as opposed to her like like, well, we don't know what he is at
Like
this point.
it's maybe less like I see what you're saying. Less corporate espionage BS, and more about like the politics of the hand and
Yes.
that
where they
menacing
come from,
force
why
that
they're
comes
scary.
in. Yes, I
Absolutely.
love that. You know what? Joelle Monique should like have an outline treatment for Iron Fist because like she had some great ideas. So
Producers,
Yeah.
I just feel like
contact
the
her
crime
on
boss
Twitter.
angle for this works so much better than going again, you can't know that when you're writing. Like, it sucks. Like, many of us here are filmmakers or have worked on films and projects before, and you don't know initially when you're writing something that the end product is going to be terrible. We've all been there where we're like, damn it, I really had high hopes for this. And I don't think at any point they were like, screw everything, like, we're just gonna make a bad show. But I
Right.
also feel like
They definitely didn't,
overlooked a lot of like,
Details.
well, no, just a lot of stereotypes in the superhero stuff that they either didn't lean into them hard enough, or they didn't go, like, it just became too wishy-washy. There's obviously too many ideas floating around, and the missing that strong core of what makes your main character tick. And I don't think that meme is an oversimplification. I think it's the cornerstones for each show. This show has no cornerstone. This show has nothing on which it rotates, and it's been so frustrating to watch because I love Marvel and I have to finish. Like, I have to know the end of it because it's going to feed into everything else.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's
Marvel has, like, that's the thing. It's like they've earned the benefit of the doubt by putting out countless. This is the first misstep, really. That, like, and like, yeah, there were flaws in other shows. Daredevil season 2 had its flaws. Luke Cage had its flaws.
but that's every show,
But, like,
though.
and like, even Jessica Jones, like, as much as that is my favorite of the Netflix series,
10 and
and like
11 are weak.
I love. Yeah, there are a couple episodes that like could have been stronger. But like, so they earn the benefit of the doubt for me. But right now, this show just isn't delivering what it needs to. And maybe a season 2 would, like, once they've established everything, would give them the freedom
like
of
maybe
movement.
an 8-episode season 2.
Maybe.
not 13.
It depends what they do with him in Defenders. Because again, like, I think the best times that I've ever, like, other than the Immortal Iron Fist story, which I get why you can't do that on Netflix, because it's just all mystical craziness on a huge scale.
Do that though.
But like, I get budgetarily why that's challenging to do for a show as opposed to a 2-hour movie. I understand that. But if you can't do that, then where Danny Rand is most interesting is when it's him and Luke Cage, or him, Luke Cage, Colleen Wing, and Misty Knight, like all 4 of them together, all of whom have been introduced as the heroes for hire team, just like grinding it on the streets to like make their way. I like that story. Like, that's the story. That's a good story with Danny Rand. And if they can get the character to that point in his life, there's stuff to do there.
I think it's going to take a lot because at this point, I can't even picture him with the other 3. Like,
Yeah.
there's pictures of them on the
Like, you
subway
don't-
without him. I'm like, oh my God, I hope this is the majority of the show.
Well,
I'm so
it's already,
confiscated.
Defenders has already been filmed,
Yeah.
and it's in post, and look,
it's coming.
I'm still looking forward to it because, again, the other characters are so strong. All right, we are way out of time.
Gotta go.
Any final thoughts on these episodes?
Just really want to make a prediction. As soon as Lawrence ousted the twins, or I guess they're not twins, the brother sister, I was like, oh, he's gonna get killed, probably by Dad, but we'll see.
Mr. Wilkes at the
Yeah, you
company.
can't cross those guys.
We did get some fun, bigger universe little like nods in these episodes.
Oh yeah,
as
we
well,
got
that are-
Jessica
that are-
Jones. Joy hired her.
Yeah, Joy is just like, yeah, this PI, she was great when she was sober. Oh, I wonder who you're talking about, Joy.
I cackled. It was good.
And Gao also made reference to the devil of Hell's Kitchen
Yeah.
and the man with unbreakable skin.
She did.
I don't know how Gao knows about Luke, but sure.
She pays to know.
Well, he was all over the news.
That's true. That's true. He was.
Also, she's
He
a
got shot by
crime
like a
boss.
rocket, and
Yeah, no, he was
Chinese
he
restaurant.
was on
blew
the
up,
news.
man. I mean, come on.
That's totally fair. I forgot the fact that he was like
Yeah.
super public.
They
like
blew
not
up a
just
Chinese
public-
restaurant. Of course, Madame Gao knows.
Watch yourself,
Oh my
Rick.
gosh. I would just say that Colleen Wing fighting her Black Mirror alternate was amazing, and I hope that we have a fight
yeah.
from her every episode from here to the end because it was thrilling.
And I love the 2 fighting styles coming out because you had the like the Chinese sword and like all the fighting that like you've seen in like Chinese. I I don't know. Are they still kung fu movies? I don't know what.
Yeah.
Fight movies,
Kung fu movies.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way. I guess they would be kung fu.
Yeah, kung fu is Chinese.
Yeah.
Karate is Japanese.
Kung fu, yeah. Karate's Japanese.
I do karate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not as.
Anyway.
Yeah. Whatever. It was just like the fight sequence was well done and well choreographed, and they
It was
were
fun.
It was
The whole
really
thing is,
fun.
it was
I will say
fun,
that
it
it was really fun.
It was
Yeah.
fun and like the stuff that we've been waiting for.
She straight up had like a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon like jump move.
Yeah, she did.
I was like,
Danny
oh
Rand
man, she is
got
on a
out
wire.
His,
It is
his
rad.
anger on a wall.
Yeah. Ugh. And he did a really silly pirouette before he did it because Danny Rand is a ballet dancer. This is my theory.
Hey, man.
No, dude, it's capoeira.
Oh.
All right. Either way. All right, guys.
French capoeira.
Thank you so much for joining us for the Iron Fist After Show for episodes 7 and 8. Be sure to tune in. We're going to talk about episodes 9 and 10. The Blessing. No, that's episode 8. I don't have the titles written down. Either way, we're going to be right back with episodes 9 and 10. If you're joining us live, we're going to go right through into those. So thank you for joining us. Until then, I've been your host, Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson.
Hey guys, I'm Joel Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joel Monique and every week at blackgirlnerds.com.
I'm Andrew Mena. Find me online at Andrew Mena on Twitter and www.andrewmenacomedy.com. Just go there and check it out and click on all the things.
And I'm the Drunken Master, and you can find me at Rick Hong, RICKHONG.
All right, guys. This has been the Iron Fist After Show on BHL. Thanks for geeking out with us.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio, Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.